Armu is P3. That Canadian guy is P4. The qualification session is at Oulton Park in Cheshire, Great Britain. That Canadian guy from Canada is first on mediums. The race dictator from New Zealand is P1 on mediums. Johnny Prince from New Zealand is P3 on mediums. Todd from New Zealand in Hislops is fourth on mediums. The race dictator is first. The race dictator is up 8.13 in Nickersbrook. The race dictator is up 8.33 in Lodge Corner. The race dictator improved his first with a 1:02.644. That Canadian guy from Canada is P2. That Canadian guy is provisional pole with a 1:02.530. That Canadian guy is up 0.18 in Nickersbrook. Todd is provisional pole with the 1:02.133. The race dictator in Deer Leap is P3. The race dictator improved his second with a 1:02.484. 0.351 off pole. Todd is P1 up 0.35. The race dictator is third up 0.11. Johnny Prince is fifth up 4.88. Dictator is P3. The Race Dictator improved his second with a 102.239.106 off pole. Todd is P1 up 0.10 on mediums. Wiremu is P4 up 0.79 on mediums. Minutes remaining in the session. Wiremu improved his third with a 102.351.218 off pole. Johnny Prince is P5. Chris Butt from New Zealand is 6th up 1.24 on mediums. Todd in launch corner is P1 up 0.47. Todd is provisional pole with a 102.081. Johnny Prince in launch corner is 6th up 0.82. Johnny Prince improved his P6 with a 103.354. 1.273 off pole. The Race Dictator in Old Hall corner is second. Todd in Druids corner is P1 up 0.10. Todd is provisional pole with a 101.868. Todd is up 0.08 in Dentons. Jonathan Rosser from New Zealand in Dentons is 7th up 0.22 on mediums. Jonathan Rosser is up 0.01 in Water Tower. Todd is P1. Todd is provisional pole with a 101.756. Jonathan Rosser is 7th up 0.54. Jonathan Rosser improved his 7th with a 106.177. 4.421 off pole. Todd in Clayhill is first up 0.30. Best lap is a 101.756. Chris Butt is third. Chris Butt improved his second with a 102.028. 0.272 off pole. Todd is first. Todd is provisional pole with a 101.511. That Canadian guy in Knickersbrook is P5 up 0.26. Jonathan Rosser in Denton's is 7th. Best lap is a 1:06.177. 4.666 off pole. That Canadian guy is P5. The qualifying session is now in overtime. Jonathan Rosser in Clay Hill is 7th up 0.55. Jonathan Rosser improved his P7 with a 1:05.049. 3.538 off pole. Jonathan Rosser is up 0.63 in Denton's. Broadcast bot is 20th on mediums. The race session is at Oulton Park in Cheshire, Great Britain. Todd is P1. Chris Bunnett from New Zealand is P2 on mediums. The race dictator from New Zealand is P3 on mediums. Race start. Wiremu is 4th. The race dictator is P3. Wiremu in Hislop's is 4th on mediums. Wiremu is now 3rd. Johnny Prince from New Zealand is 4th on mediums. Johnny Prince passed Chris Bunnett for P2. Jonathan Rosser from New Zealand is 4th on mediums. Jonathan Rosser passed Johnny Prince for 2nd. Chris Bunnett in Deer Leaf is P5. That Canadian guy entering the pits is 7th. Johnny Prince in Denton's is P3 on mediums, 0.2 behind Jonathan Rosser. Johnny Prince passed Jonathan Rosser for 2nd. Jonathan Rosser is P3. Best lap is a 1:17.235. 9.566 off the fastest lap. That Canadian guy exiting pits on mediums. 10 minutes remaining in the session. The race dictator is 4th. Best lap is a 1:22.410. 14.741 off the fastest lap. 2.0 behind Jonathan Rosser. Johnny Prince lost third to the Race Dictator. Chris Butt exiting pits on mediums. The Race Dictator is P3. Best lap is a 1:03.422. 1.209 off the fastest lap. Johnny Prince in Playville is P4, 0.4 behind the Race Dictator. The Race Dictator on lap 3 is P3, 0.8 behind Jonathan Rosser. Wiremew is fourth on mediums, 3.4 behind the Race Dictator. Jonathan Rosser from New Zealand in Hislops is third, 0.4 behind the Race Dictator. Wiremew in Water Tower is fourth, 2.3 behind Jonathan Rosser. Jonathan Rosser in Fear Leap is third, 1.5 behind the Race Dictator. Johnny Prince is fifth, 2.6 behind Wiremew. Johnny Prince was 2.0 faster last lap. Wiremew on lap 5 is P4, 2.5 ahead of Johnny Prince. Johnny Prince is P5, 1.0 behind Wiremew. Jonathan Rosser on lap 6 is P3, 4.1 behind the Race Dictator. Johnny Prince in Dentons is 5th, 0.9 behind Wiremew. Johnny Prince was 1.9 faster last lap. Jonathan Rosser in Druid's Corner is 3rd, 3.7 behind the Race Dictator. Jonathan Rosser passed the Race Dictator for P2. Johnny Prince is 5th, 0.4 behind Wiremew. That Canadian guy entering the pits is 7th. Wiremew is P4, 0.5 ahead of Johnny Prince. Chris Butt entering the pits is 6th. 5 minutes remaining in the session. Johnny Prince on lap 7 is 5th, 0.9 behind Wiremew. Johnny Prince is now P4. The Race Dictator is P5. P4 behind Johnny Prince. Johnny Prince in Lodge Corner is 4th, 1.0 behind Wiremute. That Canadian guy exiting pits on mediums. Jonathan Rosser in Dentons is P2, 1.7 behind Todd. Jonathan Rosser was 12.1 faster last lap. Johnny Prince is 4th. Best lap is a 1:03.292. 1.079 off the fastest lap. Jonathan Rosser in Lodge Corner is 2nd, 1.8 behind Todd. Chris Budd exiting pits on mediums. Wiremute is P3 on mediums, 2.9 behind Jonathan Rosser. Jonathan Rosser in Nickersbrook is P2, 0.6 behind Todd. Wiremute in Druids Corner is P3, 0.9 behind Jonathan Rosser. Wiremute passed Todd for first. Jonathan Rosser in Lodge Corner is 3rd, 0.8 behind Wiremute. Jonathan Rosser passed Wiremute for P2. Wiremute in Old Hall Corner is 3rd, 0.7 behind Jonathan Rosser. Wiremute passed Jonathan Rosser for 2nd. Chris Budd is P6. Wiremute in Druids Corner is 2nd, 1.5 behind Johnny Prince. Dictator in Lodge Corner is P4 on mediums, 2.7 behind Jonathan Rosser. Wiremute in Dentons is P2, 1.0 behind Johnny Prince. Johnny Prince was 3.5 faster last lap. Race Dictator in Nickersbrook is P4, 1.2 behind Jonathan Rosser. Wiremute on lap 11 is P2, 0.7 behind Johnny Prince. The leader has just finished the race. Johnny Prince finished P1. Wiremute finished 2nd. The Race Dictator finished 3rd. Jonathan Rosser finished P4. That Canadian guy finished P6. Todd finished 5th. Broadcast bot is P9. The race session is at Oulton Park in Cheshire, Great Britain. Todd from New Zealand is P1 on mediums. Chris Butt from New Zealand is P2 on mediums. Todd entering the pits is P18. Race start. Chris Butt is now P1. The race dictator from New Zealand is second on mediums. The race dictator entering the pits is 7th. Wiremew is P2 on mediums. Wiremew lost P5 to YH8 Racing. Wiremew is now 4th. Jonathan Rosser from New Zealand in Hislops is P3 on mediums. That Canadian guy entering the pits is 7th. Jonathan Rosser passed Chris Butt for 2nd. Chris Butt in Water Tower is 3rd. Jonathan Rosser is P2. Chris Butt is P3. Ten minutes remaining in the session. Wiremew is P4. Chris Butt on lap 2 is 4th. Jonathan Rosser is P3. Best lap is a 1:22.130. 16.083 off the fastest lap. Jonathan Rosser passed Wiremew for P2. Chris Butt is 3rd. YH8 Racing entering the pits is 5th. Jonathan Rosser in Water Tower is 2nd. YH8 Racing exiting pits on mediums. That Canadian guy exiting pits on mediums. Wiremew exiting pits on mediums. Chris Butt is 3rd. The race session is at Oulton Park in Cheshire, Great Britain. Chris Butt from New Zealand is second on mediums. Race starting. The race dictator from New Zealand is third on mediums. Chris Butt is second. Is P3 on mediums. Todd from New Zealand drew his corner in second on mediums. Todd lost third to Johnny Prince. Todd lost fifth to that Canadian guy. That Canadian guy from Canada in Lodge corner is P5 on mediums. Wyremew is P2, 0.9 behind Chris Butt. Todd in Hislops is P4, 0.2 behind Jonathan Rosser. Wyremew in Druid's corner is P2 on mediums, 0.9 behind Chris Butt. Minutes remaining in the session. Todd is P4, 0.2 ahead of Jonathan Rosser. Johnny Prince from New Zealand in Deer Leap is P6 on mediums. Best lap is a 1:19.410. 17.197 off the fastest lap. Todd in Denton's is P4, 0.5 behind that Canadian guy. Johnny Prince in Knickersbrook is P6 on mediums, 0.5 behind the race dictator. Todd is fourth on mediums, 0.3 behind that Canadian guy. P6, 0.4 behind the race dictator. Todd is P4, 0.8 behind that Canadian guy. Wyremew in Druid's corner is P2, 1.2 behind Chris Butt. Todd in Warwick Bridge is fourth on mediums, 0.3 behind that Canadian guy. Is fifth, 0.1 behind Todd. The race dictator passed Todd for P4. That Canadian guy from Canada is P4 battling Todd. The race dictator is P5, 0.4 behind that Canadian guy. That Canadian guy in Druid's corner is 4th, 0.4 behind Todd. Race dictator in Deer Leap is P5. Best lap is a 1:02.593. 0.624 off the fastest lap. That Canadian guy in Denton's is P4, 0.8 behind Todd. The race dictator from New Zealand in Clay Hill is 5th, 2.0 behind that Canadian guy. That Canadian guy from Canada in Lodge Corner is 4th, 1.1 behind Todd. The race dictator is 5th, 1.5 behind that Canadian guy. Remaining in the session. That Canadian guy in Clay Hill is 4th, 1.1 behind Todd. The race dictator is 5th, 0.2 behind that Canadian guy. The race dictator passed that Canadian guy for P4. That Canadian guy in Deer Leap is 5th, 0.4 behind the race dictator. The race dictator is P4, 0.4 ahead of that Canadian guy. That Canadian guy in Clay Hill is P5, 0.3 behind the race dictator. The race dictator was 1.8 faster last lap. Todd in Lodge Corner is 3rd, 3.0 ahead of the race dictator. That Canadian guy on lap 9 is P5, 0.8 behind the race dictator. Todd in Nickersbrook is 3rd on mediums, 1.8 behind Wiremew. Johnny Prince in Clay Hill is P6 on mediums, 0.2 behind that Canadian guy. Johnny Prince passed that Canadian guy for 5th. Jason Short entering the pits is P9. Todd is third, 1.4 behind Wiremew. Jason Short exiting pits on mediums. That Canadian guy in Old Hall corner on lap 10 is P6, 4.2 behind Johnny Prince. Todd from New Zealand is third, 0.9 behind Wiremew. Todd was 1.7 faster last lap. The race dictator on lap 10 is P4, 3.3 behind Todd. Todd is P3, 1.2 behind Wiremew. That Canadian guy is 6th, 4.0 behind Johnny Prince. Johnny Prince was 1.0 faster last lap. Todd is third, 0.5 behind Wiremew. That Canadian guy in Lodge corner is P6. Best lap is a 1:03.056. 1.147 off the fastest lap. Todd from New Zealand in Islam's is P3, 0.3 behind Wiremew. Chris Butt is P1. The leader has just finished the race. Chris Butt finished P1. Todd finished P2. Wiremew finished third. The race dictator finished fourth. Johnny Prince finished fifth. That Canadian guy finished P6. Jason Short finished ninth. Jonathan Rosser from New Zealand finished P7. YH8 Racing finished 8th. Broadcast bot is P10. The race session is at Oulton Park in Cheshire, Great Britain. Jason Short from New Zealand is first on mediums. YH8 Racing is second on mediums. Jonathan Rosser from New Zealand is third on mediums. Race start. YH8 Racing is P2. Jonathan Rosser is P3. That Canadian guy from Canada is fourth on mediums. Jonathan Rosser in Lodge Corner is third. Jonathan Rosser is now in. Johnny Prince from New Zealand is third on mediums, 0.3 ahead of Wiremute. Johnny Prince lost P4 to that Canadian guy. Wiremute on lap 2 is P3 on mediums, 0.3 behind Todd. That Canadian guy in Clay Hill is P4 on mediums, 0.1 behind Wiremute. That Canadian guy passed Wiremute for P3. 10 minutes remaining in the session. That Canadian guy lost P3 to Wiremute. Jonathan Rosser is 8th. Jonathan Rosser lost P8 to Chris Budd. YH8 Racing is 6th, 0.4 ahead of Johnny Prince. Johnny Prince is P7, 0.4 ahead of Chris Budd. Johnny Prince lost P7 to Chris Budd. Chris Budd from New Zealand is 7th on mediums, 0.6 behind YH8 Racing. Johnny Prince in Clay Hill is P9, 0.1 behind Jonathan Rosser. Chris Budd in Lodge Corner is 7th on mediums, 0.7 behind YH8 Racing. YH8 Racing was 3.2 faster last lap. Chris Budd passed YH8 Racing for P6. YH8 YH8 Racing in Old Hall Corner is P7 on mediums, 0.9 behind Crispa. Jonathan Rosser is P8, 0.6 behind YH8 Racing. Johnny Prince in Clay Hill on lap 4 is P9, 0.3 behind Jonathan Rosser. Jonathan Rosser in Warwick Bridge on lap 4 is P9, 0.2 behind Johnny Prince. Johnny Prince is 8, 0.5 ahead of Jonathan Rosser. Jonathan Rosser is 9, 0.5 behind Johnny Prince. Johnny Prince in Clay Hill is 8, 0.2 behind YH8 Racing. Johnny Prince passed YH8 Racing for 7th. YH8 Racing is P8 on mediums battling Jonathan Rosser. Jonathan Rosser is P9, 0.4 behind YH8 Racing. YH8 Racing is P8, 0.2 behind Johnny Prince. YH8 Racing lost 8 to Jonathan Rosser. Jonathan Rosser in Clay Hill is 8th on mediums, 0.6 behind Johnny Prince. Wyremew is P3 on mediums, 1.6 behind Todd. Jonathan Rosser is P8, 0.2 behind Johnny Prince. Jonathan Rosser was 0.6 faster last lap. 5 minutes remaining in the session. Wyremew is 3rd, 2.2 behind Todd. Jonathan Rosser in Water Tower is 8th, 0.9 behind Johnny Prince. Johnny Prince in Lodge Corner is P8 battling Jonathan Rosser. Wyremew in Clay Hill is 3rd, 2.8 behind Todd. Crispa in Druids Corner is P6, 3.3 behind that Canadian guy. is third, 1.3 behind Todd. Chris Buddett on lap 9 is P6, 3.1 behind that Canadian guy. Chris Buddett passed that Canadian guy for 5th. Wyremew is P3, 1.2 behind Todd. Johnny Prince is 8th, 3.0 behind Jonathan Rosser. Wyremew in Nickersbrook on lap 10 is 3rd, 1.6 behind Todd. That Canadian guy in Hislops is 6th, 0.2 behind Chris Buddett. That Canadian guy is now P7. Chris Buddett entering the pits is P8. Chris Buddett is P9, 1.8 behind YH8 Racing. Wyremew in Hislops is P3, 2.0 behind Todd. Chris Buddett in Warwick Bridge is P9, 1.2 behind YH8 Racing. Johnny Prince in Clayhill is P6, 2.1 behind Jonathan Rosser. Chris Buddett is 9th, 0.3 behind YH8 Racing. YH8 Racing in Clayhill on lap 11 is P9 battling Chris Buddett. YH8 Racing was 41.7 faster last lap. Jason Short is P1. The leader has just finished the race. Jason Short finished first. Chris Buddett finished P8. YH8 Racing finished P9. Wyremew finished P2. Todd finished 3rd. The race dictator finished 4th. Johnny Prince is 5th. Johnny Prince finished 5th. That Canadian guy finished 6th. Jonathan Rosser is P7. Broadcast bot is 10th. YH8 Racing is second on mediums. Jason Short from New Zealand in Hislops is P2 on mediums. Best lap is a 240.365. YH8 Racing in Druids Corner is third. Race Dictator from New Zealand in Warwick Bridge is P4 on mediums. Todd from New Zealand is P5 on mediums. The race dictator is P4. Best lap is a 3:55.101. Todd is 6th. The race dictator is 4th. YH8 Racing is P4. Best lap is a 1:04.342. The race dictator in Druid's Corner is P2. Best lap is a 1:02.667. Wiremew is P1 on mediums. Best lap is a 1:02.371. Todd from New Zealand in Knickersbrook is P6. The race dictator is 2nd. Best lap is a 1:01.929. Wiremew is P3. Jason Short is 1st on mediums. Best lap is a 1:01.466. That Canadian guy from Canada is 7th on mediums. Wiremew is P4. The race dictator is P2. Todd is 5th. Best lap is a 1:02.556. YH8 Racing is 6th. Todd is P1. Best lap is a 1:01.398. Jason Short is P2. Best lap is a 1:01.423. The race session is at Oulton Park in Cheshire, Great Britain. Todd from New Zealand is first on mediums. Jason Short from New Zealand is P2 on mediums. The race dictator from New Zealand is P3 on mediums. Race start. Jason Short is P2. The race dictator is third. Jason Short in Druid's corner is second. The race dictator in Lodge corner is third. Jason Short from New Zealand in Old Hall corner is P2, 0.5 behind Todd. The race dictator in Hislops is third, 0.8 ahead of Chris Rudd. Jason Short in Water Tower is P2, 0.6 behind Todd. Jason Short is now first. Wiremu is P4 on mediums, 0.6 behind Todd. 10 minutes remaining in the session. Canadian guy from Canada is P5 on mediums, 0.6 behind Wiremu. Todd from New Zealand in Hislops is third, 1.1 behind the race dictator. Guy is fifth, 0.8 behind Wiremu. Todd is P5, 0.6 behind that Canadian guy. Is P4 on mediums, 0.8 ahead of Todd. Todd in Hislops is P5, 0.9 behind that Canadian guy. Wiremu in Water Tower is third, 0.7 ahead of that Canadian guy. That Canadian guy in Lodge corner is P4 on mediums, 0.6 behind Wiremu. Wiremu in Old Hall corner is P3, 0.4 ahead of that Canadian guy. That Canadian guy is 4th, 0.4 ahead of Todd. Todd in Clay Hill is 5th. Best lap is a 1:01.628. 0.251 off the fastest lap. Todd passed that Canadian guy for P4. Wiremu in Lodge corner is P3, 1.4 behind the race dictator. Wiremu was 1.6 faster last lap. Todd is 4th. Wiremu in Clay Hill is 3rd, 1.4 ahead of Todd. Todd on lap 6 is P4, 1.5 behind Wiremu. Wiremu is P3, 1.0 ahead of Todd. Todd is P4, 0.5 behind Wiremu. Session. Wiremu in Druids corner is P4 battling Todd. Wiremu lost 4th to Chris Budd. Chris Budd from New Zealand in Deerleaf is 4th on mediums, 1.6 ahead of Wiremu. Wiremu in Dentons is P5, 1.7 behind Chris Budd. Todd in Druids corner is P3 on mediums, 2.9 behind the race dictator. Wiremu in Lodge corner is 5th, 2.6 behind Chris Budd. Todd is P3, 2.5 behind the race dictator. Wiremu Wiremu in Clayhill is 5th, 2.2 behind Chris Butt. Chris Butt was 1.0 faster last lap. Todd in Deer Leaf is P3, 2.4 behind the race dictator. Wiremu is 5th. Best lap is a 1:02.094. 0.733 off the fastest lap. Todd in Water Tower on lap 10 is 3rd, 1.9 behind the race dictator. Chris Butt in Lodge Corner is 4th, 2.8 behind Todd. Todd in Denton's is P3 on mediums, 1.6 behind the race dictator. Wiremu in Nickersbrook is 5th on mediums, 2.7 behind Chris Butt. The race dictator in Lodge Corner is P2, 0.6 behind Jason Short. The race dictator is now P1. Chris Butt in Deer Leaf is P4, 0.8 behind Jason Short. Chris Butt is now 4th. Jason Short entering the pits is P5. Chris Butt lost P5 to Jason Short. Chris Butt is now P5. Todd from New Zealand in Druids Corner is 2nd, 1.0 behind the race dictator. The race dictator is P1. Jason Short exiting pits on mediums. The leader has just finished the race. The race dictator finished 1st. Todd finished 2nd. That Canadian guy passed Wiremu for 3rd. That Canadian guy finished 3rd. Wiremu finished P4. Chris Butt finished P5. YH8 Racing is 6th. Jason Short finished 7th. YH8 Racing finished P6.